Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, then please do not continue to listen until after you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. I am so excited, you guys. We are covering Annabelle Creation, which is a long time coming. But before we go to the summary, I will start us off on tea. I am drinking the Night Pear on Elm Street by Brutalities. And this is the second time I think I'm having this tea, and so peaceful and spicy and nice. What about you?
I needed just a little bit of caffeine, not a whole lot, just a little bit after the day that I've had. I'm about to fall asleep in my chair. So I've got Bigelow's vanilla chai black tea with a little bit of sugar and a little bit of milk. You can kind of see
Yeah.
in there.
Very nice.
But it's a little bit of sweet and a little bit of spice, and I love it.
I know, I am a huge sucker for chai tea, but... So, the summary. It starts you off with the father of Annabelle being a doll maker, and his daughter, Annabelle. It kind of establishes their family dynamic, but the movie very quickly starts off with a bang by killing off Annabelle. I think it's even within the first 5 minutes of the film. And then it has like a thing like 12 years later. And so these orphans are coming to the house, and Annabelle's room is locked up, but lo and behold, it gets unlocked by, the entities inside. And one of the orphans, Janice, she eventually gets possessed by Annabelle, and then later down the line they allude to, oh, that was the daughter of the neighbors that got killed in the very first Annabelle movie. But so for entertainment, because I'm guessing I probably have a little bit more to say than you. Did you want to start us off with entertainment before I go down my tirade, or do you want me to go first?
I don't know what to rate this.
Okay, well, I can go first if you want to think about it.
Please.
Okay, it's like, I'll talk a little bit later, the biggest flaw of this movie for me, but this was a very easy 8 for me. And the reason being is this is one of the movies where I bought it, I watch it over and over again, I appreciate it every single time I watch it. I enjoy that they have the characters, they have interesting characters and they develop them, but they don't overly develop them. They essentially develop them enough where you care for them and you don't want them to get hurt. I also like the atmosphere of the whole movie. It feels very like dark and creepy. And I mean, from the start of the film, at least for me, it was like very engaging. And I also think what the strongest part of this movie, though, is definitely the scares. They do such a good job of introducing tension, build up. Sometimes there's payoff, sometimes there's not. And a huge plus to this movie is they don't go crazy with the jump scares. Like, the jump scares seem in place and they make sense with the movie rather than random like bagul scares every which way. But kind of like finishing off my points, the weakest part that I found of the movie was the fact that they were trying to wrap it up with the original Annabelle movie. This movie is completely fine standing on its own. And the fact that they try and connect it, it's like, the daughter Annabelle dies, and then the demon possesses the doll pretending to be Annabelle. And then it goes out of the doll into the little girl, and then it goes back in the doll. It's like it just seems like a huge plot hole. And then especially within the original Annabelle movie, the Annabelle doll is brand new rather than being locked up in a closet for like 12 years.
To be fair, it did still look like new.
True. But the way, because in the original movie, the wife was collecting the dolls. He was getting them new to her. It seemed like they were just like a normal manufacturer. But what made the doll different is whenever the daughter like killed herself and kind of like transferred herself into the doll. But anyway, that was kind of like what ruined the movie for me. But the first half of the movie, like the first 2/3 or 3/4, is so good that I can barely look past that huge flaw. But anyways, that's my tirade.
So I would give this a tentative 7.5. Maybe closer to a 7. I do like this one probably the best out of the Annabelle movies, all 3 of them. I do like how they introduced a lot of the scares and how they didn't rely completely on jump scares. They did have a lot of good tension moments. But you guys know I pick apart movies and I have questions, and that generally brings the score down for me. I question people's intelligence in this movie because a lot of things just don't make that much sense to me. Like, for example, why didn't, when they called the priests and the fathers to deal with the situation, the couple called them in after the wife was hurt and they wanted them to deal with the doll? Why is the doll still there in the house? Why didn't the church take it with them to a different secure location? Why did they leave it in the house? And if they absolutely had to leave it in the house, why didn't you conceal that area a little better? Putty the crap out of that area, maybe brick it up, something, make it completely impenetrable. You cannot get through this area without really forcing it. Like, at the very least, put a bookshelf there and screw the bookshelf to the door or wall or something. Like, you could see the keyhole. Also, if you're going to leave it like that, throw away the key.
Yeah, it's like, why would you have a key? But see, like, what's funny is I actually did have that as a point, but I thought that was more a realism point. So that was my realism.
Well, I don't necessarily count it against realism because there are stupid people like this out there. They just didn't think of it, I guess. But at the very least, why didn't you at least think to get rid of the key? Like,
Yeah.
throw it away, ship it to another country, melt it down, do something.
Yeah, the plot of this movie definitely has a lot of weak points. Like for me, it's definitely the scares and the tension that I think is why it's so hard to find a good movie that does it this well. So I kind of have to have my shades on to look past it.
But also, I don't appreciate how they show the demon so much in this movie. And not just in little glimpses here and there, that would be fine. The thing they do with the shining white eyes in darkness, That's great. That is fantastic. They could have just kept with that and called it good. But no, they had to show the full demon. And it just, at that point, when you actually see the demon, it makes it not scary for me. It almost makes it funny at that point for me. And I can't take it as seriously, and it takes me out of the movie setting. So it's good up to a point for me, and then I can't take it seriously for like the rest of the movie.
That almost like a really great example is when you see the little girl Annabelle in the room and Janice is like coming towards her and is like, and the demon like turns around and is like, your soul in her. Like that definitely, that's a dumb moment.
Yeah, that scene in particular, it both makes me laugh and pisses me off at the same time because they were doing so well the entire time before. I do question why the little girl even went in the room again to begin with, but she's there. She's stupid, but she's there, and the scares have been decent until then. And then you're like, oh, okay, I'm done.
Man, okay. I forgot about that particular part. Damn it. Okay, I am retracting my previous rating, and I am giving it a 7.5, but I can't give it any lower.
I mean, don't let me sway you.
No, I'm not.
That I take off for.
Well, because it's like, an 8 to me is a movie that I'll watch over and over again that I really don't have too many complaints about, like Jaws and those types of movies. And this is one of those movies I watch over and over and over again. But that is a huge part of the movie that I do not like, is there just a few handful of scares that are really, really stupid. Okay, so that's why I'm changing it to a 7.5.
Yeah. It's really the biggest thing for me is the demon. Like, stop showing it so much, please. The little glimpses here and there, even a hand here and there is fine. The footsteps leading to the bottom bunk when the friend is trying to figure out what's going on, that's super freaky. That was well done. And then she looks over and sees it all. Oh no. That was really well done. That hand was a bit much. They could have just like snatched the doll away without actually showing the hand. But all in all, not bad.
One good subtle scare that I really like is the part where Janice first like rides up the stairs and then in the background you see Annabelle in the dark. It's like it's so subtle, like even in theaters. Just
yes, I'm sitting there like, no, nope. Little ghost girl is back.
And they never acknowledge it. So it's like, it's the perfect,
So for those that aren't really paying attention to background things like we love to do, it's easily missed. But it's really cool when they do things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sets a good tone for the rest of the movie. And then they wreck it with scenes like your soul. It's just, it's heartbreaking when that happens.
I know. They have so many good scares, like the scarecrow and then the
scarecrow was freaky.
And then when you see Annabelle with the sheet over her body and she's walking towards Janice and then
the whole scene, I'm like, nope. I would have been so far out of that room, out of that house. I'd have been halfway down the damn street before she even put on the stupid sheet. No.
Yeah.
And then they go and ruin it.
Yeah. But I don't really have a lot else to add. It's like the flaws of this movie are kind of stick out at you, but what they do well in this movie, they do really well, I think.
Yeah, I think so too. I do have a few other questions, but we'll get to that in the realism scale. So if you're good, we can go ahead and transition over to there.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right.
So for realism, I'll start us off as always, since I don't think of nearly as many things as you do. I am going to give this a 4 because there's a few things I'm just like, what? So, like for example, when Janet is then possessed by Annabelle and she goes by Annabelle instead of Janice, the foster care system seemed to scoop her back in pretty easily, and I'm sorry, I'm pretty sure they have a little bit more documentation and a lot more paperwork to deal with. I just feel like that's not as believable. But of course, at that day and age, I don't know how thorough their tracking was, but I feel like it was probably better than what the movie said. And then also, another huge part for me was Esther Mullen, the wife of the doll maker. The scars she has after she was attacked by Demon Annabelle, they totally do not look any sort of realism, because you just see kind of like scabbed over looking skin and then like eye socket, but
Yeah, it was burned almost.
yeah, it looks so bad. It just, you don't even believe it. And then, but going back to what you were saying, Jess, about the doll, it's like, my final point is the fact that they kept the doll in the house. It's like, I'm sorry, if I had a possessed doll, I would bring it to a church or bring it some sort of super holy place to where there's not really, it's just kind of like trapped in the doll. And it would have people that would know the situation and be able to watch it to prevent kids from just going in there and getting possessed.
Because kids will be kids, and if you tell them to stay out of a room, they're going to get in the room.
Yeah, but I did enjoy, my final point is the reason why it didn't rate quite as low on the realism scale, because 4 on average is fairly generous for us, is the fact that they brought up polio and the fact that Janice had the after effects of polio. I just thought that was a nice little extra feature that they had in there to kind of bring you back to that period of time.
Mm-hmm. That was a nice little point there. I still feel like it all shouldn't have been there. And if it was, then either you would wall it off completely, a lot better than they'd. It was really half-assed, I feel like, to be perfectly honest. The key was even still in the room. It wasn't even in another room in the house. It was in the same room.
Like Mr. Mullins could have kept it on him.
3 feet. It was 3 feet from the door. They didn't melt it down. They didn't throw it away. They didn't, toss it in a lake, in an ocean, in anything else. Didn't try to get rid of it at all. It's just 3 feet from the door it goes to. But this is fine. They also then thought that it was a good idea to bring more people into the house with the possessed doll. And not just more people, children who don't listen. Because kids are going to be kids and they're going to get into shit.
Yeah.
So that's a great idea. And I get that they feel like they needed to perform some kind of penance. I don't know why. I guess for bringing it about at all. Maybe a slip in faith, whatever. So I get that they wanted to do something to kind of make up for whatever they were feeling. But there are other options for this. Donate. Reach out, help the soup kitchen. Maybe go help a, a nursing home nearby, something, volunteer places, animal shelters. That would be fine. But no, they decide to bring children into the house with the demon doll. And there's no way this is going to go wrong at all.
Not at all.
Not at all. So then the kids are in the house, and the little girl with the leg issue goes into the room that magically unlocks itself, and she's seeing all these weird things and the sheet coming at her, and then nothing's there, and she goes back to the room.
Already a knock from realism right there.
I'm sorry. What kid would see that happen and then think, this is fine, I can go back to the room and see what else is in the room? No, that kid will eternally avoid that room at any and all costs. And since their room was right next to that room, she would have been bugging the ever-living crap out of anyone and everyone to switch rooms that she's staying in, so she doesn't have to be anywhere near it. You know she would. In real life, you know any kid would.
Yeah.
So I'm calling bull. I'm also calling bull on after the your soul moment when she's screaming bloody murder and trying to get out of that area and gets clawed in her other leg, that nobody wakes up. Nobody inspects. These are girls. Girls are nosy. You can't tell me at least one of the little girls is like looking out one of the other rooms down the hall trying to figure out what's going on. No. I'm calling bull. Someone heard. You see the camera shoot in different scenes, different rooms of the house, showing people asleep. I'm sorry, her best friend, was just in the room like 30 seconds prior. You can't tell me she's already asleep. They didn't establish she had narcolepsy. No. Unless the demon just knocked her out after she left the room. Which, if they did, why not show us? But no one comes to her aid the entire time. And then she lands on her arm. If you slow down the movie, she lands on her arm. But it's her other leg that's injured. And her arms are perfectly fine, not even a bruise. Okay. This is fine. Totally fine.
I don't know. For that point, I feel like if you landed such a way that it kind of like messed up your spine, then maybe it could mess up both of her legs.
The spine, yes. I understand the spine, but she landed on her arm.
Yeah.
Not even a bruise on her arm. No. Just no. We'll flash forward a bit. There's other little nitpicky things too, but one of the biggest things that really bugged me toward the end of the movie was when, I think it was Nancy? Or the other chick, her friend? One of the older girls.
Yeah.
That was in the barn with Scarecrow. The demon that was taking over the Scarecrow was knocking out the lights. And she climbs up the ladder.
Yes!
And then touches the incandescent bulb with her bare hand and screws it back in when the demon was trying to unscrew it. I'm sorry. Has anyone ever accidentally even touched an incandescent bulb?
They're
Because
so hot.
I know I have, and it hurts. Those things are hot. They burn. And she was not showing an ounce of ouchie. So I'm calling bull. I'm sorry. That's not how any of that works.
They could have even had her be like, and like but still like trying to touch it.
And then like grab a piece of fabric or something to turn it. That would have been fine too. But no, they don't even acknowledge that it's an incandescent bulb and they hurt. No. I'm also calling bull on the fact that not one of these people decided, F this, I'm walking. Because they all piled into the truck that we have no idea any of them know how to drive. But okay. They're trying to start it. It's clearly not going to start. I'm sorry, I'm walking. I could have been halfway down the road by the time you almost get the truck started. No, I'm gone. Let's see how long I can walk. The answer is as long as I freaking need to. Because I'm pretty sure that demon's not going to follow that far. It's not me they're after. It just wants me gone. I will oblige. Deuces. I'm sorry, even the other little girl, the main girl, Janice, that's like the demon's trying to get at her. After seeing the sheet thing, nah, fam, I'm leaving a note. Have fun with your demon. I'm gone, deuces. Don't come looking for me. I ain't coming back.
Oh.
Appreciate the attempted hospitality, but good luck with the thing in that room. Guys, no. Using those crutches like a champ. Walking all the way down. Nope.
Oh. Yeah.
So I would give it probably maybe a 4 as well. Probably closer to a 3.5. But it's not near as bad as some of the other movies that we've seen. It's definitely not great. And I'm calling BS on so many different reactions to the situations.
Yeah.
But it's not as bad. It's still a bit more believable than some of the other things we've seen.
Yeah.
So.
And as you mentioned before, this is out of the 3 Annabelle movies, which we haven't done Annabelle Comes Home yet. But this one, for me, is definitely the strongest of the movie. The weakest link is definitely the first Annabelle movie, which we have a podcast episode of it already. It's kind of old, actually, now. But you guys should go listen if you haven't already.
One of our first.
Huh?
I think it was one of the first ones that we did, I feel like.
Yeah, I remember doing it pretty soon after quarantine started, and we had already done the podcast for maybe a month and a half or 2 months, something like that. But
guys, we've been in quarantine too long. This is just the new norm.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I had on this one. It is a good movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. It is good. It's just it gives you some questions.
Yeah, like honestly, if we ever do a horror movie, I would want to have the scares be very similar. Now, no, your soul, like type of scenes. No, none of that stupid shit.
No.
But I love that this movie has the very subtle scares where they never make mention back to it. The scares that do have some sort of payoff, but then there's scares that it gets more and more and more intense, and then just boop, just nothing, like no payoff whatsoever. So it just leaves you hanging.
You know what would have been better?
What?
Instead of like the demon face going your soul?
Huh?
Is if, because you could see her reflection in the window. if she had this like really creepy dead-eyed smile and then just disappeared and then like a little piece of paper fluttered down, your soul written on it. Even that would have been creepier. And then like it knocks her down and like starts to try to drag her into the room. That
Yeah.
would have been creepier.
Because I understand that they're trying to have like a climax to the moment, but that build up and then having it go down to is like a little piece of paper, like your soul, and then go back to like trying to, actively grab her. That I feel like that would be a pretty good alternative for sure.
Dude, it was like a freaking epic crescendo in music. And then it just stops suddenly and has like a little clown horn. That's essentially what it was like.
Yeah.
Watching that scene. Like it was so good and epic. You're really into the music. And then it just cuts off. Did
Brr.
it? Yeah. It's just, why?
Yeah.
So, but the rest of the movie is decent. So, for the most part. So go watch it if you haven't already. Tell us what you thought about it. If you have any other movies that you would like us to watch and review, please let us know. We are always looking for more. And I can't even remember when we're posting this. We should already have announced the live stream and
Yes.
are getting everything set up and everything. So we do have our live streams for horror games every first Saturday of the month at 7 p.m. on Twitch. And then, of course, we post them on our YouTube channel every Friday. So please make sure that you go visit those as well and join us in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe, share social media. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.